What is going on, everyone? Welcome back into another AFK Journey video. Today I wanted to do something a little bit fun and appreciative to the art and the overall world and aesthetic of this game. And let's go ahead and just go through each of the characters that are going to be available on launch. If there's any more added before that, we'll go ahead and update it. But as of now, these are the characters that we'll be looking to get. We're just going to go in order from the glossary, starting from the bottom, which is going to be like the lower tier characters, working our way up into some of the synergized characters that you'll see. First, we have Hammy, which you get her and her little partner. This guy right here, Chippy. You get both of these guys right when you start the game. They have some very basic attacks and stuff like that because they're used up until you pretty much do your first 10 pull. So they're just fun little characters. This is their little tier right here, rare. So very low tier. Then we're going to get into the Graveborn. This is Viperian. He was someone that I was using a little bit. Oop, let's click out of that. He was someone that I was using a little bit early on as a, I think it's a mage. Yeah. As a mage, and then I switched over to like a different subclass. He's pretty interesting. His ult puts like a exploding dot that does like percentage damage, and then once it explodes, it deals damage to all other people who are possessed. So a pretty interesting kit that he has. Other things are just very basic, like haste and damage dealing and stuff like that. So nothing too crazy on this character when it comes to like end game. I wouldn't rank him up there in end game like an S tier. Moving on, and that could change with different synergies and different characters that come out. You can always have characters that just age a little bit better and they work into different synergies later on. With Salazar, also one of the characters that I used early as a rogue, he is pretty cool because he just does a lot of damage real quick, but he's very squishy. Most rogues are usually squishy. They don't deal pretty much like certain amount of damage all the time, but he stays up to that because he does do percentage damage, so it makes a big difference whenever you have a character that just does flat percentage damage. Makes them a little bit more viable later on as well, because they're not dealing with just numbered damage, they're doing with percentage, so it's something that you can use no matter what. Also, sometimes they're better to use late game because of that percentage damage. You just have to build around them to make sure that they stay alive. This is Sylvina. She is the other Graveborn rogue. Aesthetic wise, she's probably one of my top favorite when it comes to aesthetics. But her kit, I feel like, is just lacking. If we look at her ult right now, it does a big percentage damage. Obviously, goes up with the levels of like the resonance of the tier. But she reduces their energy by 200. Decent in PvP. But I don't think she works in World Boss when it comes to reducing damage. I could be mistaken. I'll try that again and update if I was wrong. I'll put it in the comments. But I have tried her a couple times. It didn't feel like she was synergizing too well. He's pretty cool. Niru, he can revive, but he has to get the ult off on a character before they die. So with the team format of the Graveborn, and then we have the higher tier Graveborn tank right here, Thorin. His ult, no, not his ult. I'm sorry. His passive. Where is it at? Okay, here we go. So this ability right here, he just resurrects himself. So pretty cool. If you have Niru's ult on him, Thorin, and then he dies, he can use the ult, and then he dies again, he can use his own passive, and then if you get the ult on him another time, he can revive again. So pretty cool combination with them. I think if there's a character that has haste to like buff other characters around you to make them get their ults off quicker, that would be a pretty cool combo. I have found that just a flat 5 of like a certain synergy was not always the best case in all scenarios. It does give you a bonus in damage and a bonus in attributes and stuff, but I didn't feel like it was usually the best case scenario for all scenarios. Now we have Parisa. I use her in the hero trials. Let me just remember that correctly real quick. Our honor duel, I'm sorry. I've used her in the honor duel when it comes to the random characters and stuff that you can get in there. And she did really well. I feel like she performs very well as a mage. Her ultimate is a little lackluster, in my opinion. It's a little bit slow getting off. So I would say probably like a B to A tier for her. It's possible that there's a character that I just didn't unlock and use within the time that, you know, benefits each of these characters in a different way. This is just my experience. Obviously, everyone will have a different experience unless you have every character. Then you have time to mess around with everything. So that was kind of my experience with her. Khafra, didn't use him much, but I did read over his abilities, and he looks like a pretty decent warrior. He looks like someone that can utilize having maybe a tank and more of a physical attack heavy team, because he does give for some good like stunning and stuff like that for the team to go ahead and pop off some damage. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was unaffected during the period. Yeah, so he gains a haste as well that just lets him output a little bit more damage quicker. And he can do a knockback with a stun. So good utility on his character. Damien. I refused to use him because he ran away and put out a little toy to heal for him. But statistically wise, he seems like a pretty cool character. He does give some haste. So and that's the thing, is that I probably should have used him to go with the other character to try it out, just to see if it was going to do what I thought it was going to do. But I feel like you need two characters that are going to use haste. I didn't want to throw him in there as a healer, not really outputting any good damage. Then you have a tank, and a lot of time I have like a beefier warrior that I was going with. Overall, I would say he's probably an A rank though, depending on his kit. I just didn't really utilize him that much because I had a different kind of team synergy. I was trying to go without a healer on a lot of stuff, and it works. You don't always have to have a tank and a healer and stuff like that. You can mix and match teams. Obviously, there will be meta teams that will just be the best. So she is, she carried me through Honor Duel twice now, which is hilarious. I did one with the Graveborn and two with the Wilder format, and she has carried me through twice. Just a big chunk of damage, and then she summons meteors to deal additional damage equal to their targets. She gets attack speed. She does some physical defense reducing, so armor pin, and more attack speed and more armor pin. Used him in Honor Duel. Pretty good mage. Wasn't really impressed with him all that much, but he does give some like good energy regeneration. Arden was okay. I'm definitely going to put him in B tier for now. The beasts are the one that I played nothing with, so I have no true opinion on any of these characters, but I did read up on hers, and I also read up on his, and I feel like out of all the characters, these two kind of caught my eye the most for the beasts. I believe this is another warrior. She was the tank. This is a mage. Let's just see. She is invincible for the effect. That one's okay. Kruger launches a mighty slash, knock down enemies, 450% damage, 3 stacks of shatter. It's got some good armor pin. Decent. And this dude is hilarious. Odie. That's my boy Odie. Yeah, the beast team I didn't use that much. He's godly though. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, Seth. Listen to this. Seth flashes towards an enemy, dealing 100% damage 3 times, then freezes them briefly and jumps to deal 150% more damage to the target. Seth becomes invincible and recovers HP to 25% of the damage dealt during this skill. Bruh. What? That's busted. And then he gets an increased bloodlust stack at 15% at level 3. Insane. Passive right here, the target's physical defense is reduced by an extra 15% for each stack. I don't know if this has an infinite stack. Pretty sure it does. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. When a non-summoned enemy is defeated, Seth immediately resets the cooldown of beatdown, which is this right here. So pounces to the weakest enemy in range, deals 150% damage, 25% of the target's lost HP, plus 25% of the target's lost HP. The additional damage cannot exceed 400% of this attack. So that one's capped, but this resets it. So pretty busted. Yeah, overall, he's an insane character. I think really good for late game as well once I get up there. I've not made it to 240 yet. I'm still working on it. I never unlocked him, so I haven't tried Walker yet, but he looks hilarious. Obviously, Walker, Texas Ranger. He is part of the Light Bearers. Old Chuck Norris right there. She was pretty fun. She does a frontal 3-tile arc of restoration. She is a support, so she's a healer. Did not use Corrin that much except for early game, but he has a basic kind of kit. Self-buffing. Let me tell you, even though you get him early on, he is such a good, like his kit is so good for how early you get him. He brings all utility that a tank should bring. Just know that. A shield, self-heals, or to restore HP. All utility. Also, another archer I didn't use because I was using her most of the time. I think she's probably the best archer in the game. I would say the only person that's probably up there is going to be these, the Celestial. I just unlocked him, Dionel, and he's pretty freaking cool. And obviously, usually in these games, when you have like these different tiers where it's less of them and stuff like that, and they kind of fit into any team, they're usually going to be best in slot when it comes to whatever their class is. So I'm assuming that she's probably the best in slot warrior. Burial's probably the best in slot rogue. Probably the best in slot support. Damn, he looks cool. I never looked at these characters before. I'm not going to lie. These four right here, I never looked at them. I actually didn't even know they existed because I didn't want to spoil myself in the glossary before actually like pulling them. And holy cow, that is a cool hypogen. Hypogen. Let's take a look at him real quick again. Yo. These are really cool looking characters. Sinister Jester. I think this has got to be my favorite character in the game. He looks so cool. Let me take a look at him real quick. He's goated. That man's suave daddy. Good lord. Yeah, he is suave daddy McGee. Venus of Dawn. Herald of Compassion. Yo, those are some dope titles. Sinister Jester. Balanced Evil. Nice. If non-summon allies outnumber non-summon enemies, Reiner selects an enemy dealing 230% damage and teleporting to another dimension with the target for 10 seconds. Wow. That is a god tier PvP unit. Holy cow, he's a god tier. Yeah, what else does he do? When a battle starts, Reiner switches an adjacent ally's position with an enemy. Wow. So he can take an enemy, put him in your backline, let your range characters just go off on him crazy, or off on the enemy crazy. And then he also, his ult basically singles out another enemy and they go and duke it out in another dimension for 10 seconds. So they're off the battlefield. Let your team do work. Launches a mighty strike against the healthiest enemy. Okay. 8 times. 8 times. 45% damage 8 times. Holy cow. I'm not even going to try to do the math in my head. Yeah, that's crazy. I tried to do the math and I was like, nah. Okay, let's get back to this. Cassidy. She was a mage. Yep. A lot of these characters, the mages, I feel like their utility is kind of underwhelming. But then again, you know, once you use them and you kind of synergize with them, once you have all the characters and get to play with everyone, it allows it to make more sense on what team synergies and stuff to use. Okay. I'm going to go through and I'm going to tell you my top 5 units. I know it kind of jumped around everywhere, but I don't want this video to be too crazy long. My top 5 units right now is definitely Cecia. It's going to be Lucius. For definitely Seth. That's 3. Thorin for sure. Another great tank. There's really good tanks in here. And, you know, this unit is interesting because Tamesia, she can travel, like, around the map without stagger. And she can go through walls and units and stuff like that. So I'm probably going to put her as my number 5. Anyways, guys, if y'all have any questions, thank y'all so much for watching. If you want to learn more about AFK Journey, please hit me up in the comments. I can't wait for this game to come out. I'm really excited for it so I can start playing and investing into it and stuff like that. But I'll catch y'all in the next one.